Good morning, everybody. And by everybody, I mean nobody probably yet. So I just got done watching some of BFAB stream, engaging in that while I was doing some more sorting on the large Lego haul. Hey, Roastmaster OW. Figured why not go ahead and start a stream after he left. And I apologize if it's a little noisy, but I'm pretty much getting down to the last part of my Lego sort, at least for the large bin. This is all that remains. So I'm hopeful that we'll get done with this today and be done with Lego sorting for a while. It's been quite a while sorting here. So doing pretty well, Roastmaster. It's been early morning today. We had a wedding last night that we went to. Got home a little bit late, about midnight or so, which is late for us at least. And I don't know, got up, didn't really feel like getting up, so I kind of moseyed around a little bit this morning, came down and was excited to see that BFAB was streaming. So figured why not just get some Lego sorting in and get this done and behind me so that I can actually start building something. How are you doing this morning, Roastmaster? So I think my plan is going to be relative to this stream is hopefully get through these pieces and then afterwards probably show the collection and the empty can just as a little bit of my celebration for the completion of this task. It's been a little bit overwhelming. I didn't quite think that a bin of Legos would be quite so challenging to get through, but really to break it down into the right pieces, and this is honestly really the first stage. Like, for instance, this bin right here is pretty much all things that I consider to be plates or flat plates. Some of them do have some studs available on them. Some of them are some of the fancier curves, bends. Really what I'm hoping to do with this afterwards, and probably true of each of these containers that I'm dealing with, and I apologize you can't see some, but I'll recap them at the end here, is to go through and do a second phase of sorting on each of them. For instance, on the Technic pieces, I'll probably sort it between pins and axles, as well as bricks and plates. Going into too much detail during the initial sort, I think, was just going to be way too overwhelming. I don't even know if I would have enough containers to do it from the start. So I figured breaking it down into little subsections and start with, for instance, anything that really has some kind of an angle to it. Those all go in one bin. Any kind of a plate, aside from the 1x1 plates, those all go into a different bin, so on and so forth. I do have one bin here just for completely specialized pieces. So these are like large brick plates almost. Things in here like little treasure chests. It's actually, well, this one doesn't have the money in it. Little fence posts or gates, things like that. So, hey, Palma Postal. I'm glad that you enjoy our videos. I wish Scott was here this morning to enjoy, but as I was saying, we had a wedding last night. So my sister and Grammy ended up watching him tonight. So they came out and picked him up, and he hasn't made his way back to the house yet. I have not picked up any of the summer sets yet, Roastmaster. I think that there's a couple on my list. There's a couple of the Arctic sets that I actually really like that I think when I get to my Lego City, or our Lego City, I guess, I want a couple of the Arctic sets to kind of go with the winter village that we put together, which is a little hard to see in the background, but it's up there. So that one's on the list. Okay, OW. That one's on the list. I would like to say the Pirate Coaster but I don't know if I would prioritize getting the Pirate Coaster over the full-on roller coaster. And I think that there's a couple other items on my radar first. So tomorrow, I believe, is when the new promotion for the Lego Storybook comes out. And so it's my intention to pick up one of the Creator Expert modular building sets. I think we've got, I think the oldest ones that are still available from Lego Store are the Parisian Restaurant and the Detective's Office. And so I'm going to probably plan on getting at least one of those before it gets retired so that I can add it to our Lego City. And then beyond that, I'll probably try and work my way through some of the other older modular creator sets. I'll probably wait for a little bit of a deal on the roller coaster. I'm not exactly sure, but you should get the Ninjago Dragons. What is that? One of the new Ninjago 2018 sets that haven't been released yet, Palma? Hey, BFAB. Good stream this morning, by the way. It was fun. It gave me something to do while I was doing more sorting. So yeah, the new Lego store, which I had asked BFAB about earlier, the new Lego store I think looks really cool. But I guess that's only released out of country as of yet. So I don't know how long it's going to take before it gets imported, but I'm hopeful that it does because I would really enjoy that set. I think that could be a good addition to, sorry, I get distracted. Sometimes it's hard to catch. I've got a little Mega Bloks piece. So I start up a little pile, not in a bin, next to the bins here of the fake Lego, as we call them. But anyways, the Lego store, I think, would be a good addition to the Lego City that Scott and I are going to start working on here soon, which we're almost set up for. I've got like one area over here that obviously you can't see, but my plan is later today to tackle that, to get it clear. And then I've already got a couple tables, and we're going to start assembling those, get those up. And my initial thoughts were to start with getting the winter vacation home in there. But I really feel like that's going to have to go on some kind of a mountain or something to look right. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be ready to tackle the creation of a large mountain right off the get-go. But we'll see. Depending on how long it takes to get that table set up ready, and if the Creator Expert Parisian Restaurant or Detective's Office, I haven't fully decided which one I'm going to start with. But if I pick those up tomorrow, then hopefully I'll end up being able to add one of those to the city. I do need to get plates as well. It's a big list of things when you're just starting off, I think. See what we got in chat here. So Palma said he wants one of them so that they can put motors in them and make them walk. I believe that's kind of neat. So the new Ninjago Dragons, which we do have, obviously not a new one. This is Scott's largest set that he's built to date, but the Ninjago Dragon from the Dragon Forge set. I think it's like a fire and ice dragon. This one's pretty cool. I like the dragons. We do have which Scott hasn't seen yet, but we do have a green dragon that I picked up for a pretty good price. Most of my Ninjago stuff, though, or our Ninjago stuff, has really just been finding good deals. So let's see here. I hope they release it soon in the year. Yeah, I think BFAB that VIP Lego store set would be really good. Ooh, my chat just disappeared for a second. So Palma says, in your city, you should add a custom police force or a Navy. That way to make the way to make a custom police officer, get the shock on me. The general number 1, remove the hat. That looks like a fish or octopus. Any gray hair piece from a man or girl. There you have a cool police officer. So we do have a couple police officers. We've been getting, again, this set. I don't know if you saw our previous fall video. So if you haven't, I'll give you a little sneak peek here. So I don't think my sorting job will ever be done because of the Lego that I tend to purchase. So here's another really large bin of Lego. I did make a video about this. I got the entire bin for $40. Well, that wasn't very exciting to show you there. Let me get this worked out here. So this is a component of the, I think it's the Lego Apple House is what I think it's called. But pretty nice little house inside of there. But the reason I picked this up initially, based on what you were talking about, is it had a ton of minifigures in it. So this is just a bag full of minifigs and big figs. A lot of Marvel stuff in here, actually. But it's got a lot of cool police officers and general kind of like civilians, construction workers that I think are going to be really nice to be able to put around the town. I'm really hoping that the town can be more than just buildings, but instead try and tell some story, make it, I don't know, kind of seem like it's alive a little bit. So OW kind of wants to make a city, but has another mock that he needs to make first. So I'm hoping that we get to mocks. I really want the city outside of the creator expert sets. I would really like the city to mainly consist of mocks, which is why we purchase so much kind of bulk Lego. I'm hoping that we can end up finding a good variety of parts in there such that we can put together some nice mocks. But pretty new to mock building, so I'm not sure how long it'll take before I get something that I feel is really Lego City ready. So Palma says you should sell some of your Legos that you don't want on eBay and you can make some good money, like the mini doll. Yeah, I thought about it. At one point, I was considering starting up a Bricklink store, but the problem with it is it's a time issue. So I've got a full-time job that I work, and so does my wife. And we want to spend as much time as we can with our son, Scott. And we have another new child on the way. And so finding time to not only sort pieces into large batches, but then into individual containers such that I could actually, sell individual pieces and things along those lines. The effort involved with that is honestly really more than it's worth right now. So maybe at some point when Scott's grown old and whether he's getting out of Lego or whether he's gone off to college or whatever it is that he decides to do, maybe at that point I would consider opening a Bricklink store or getting rid of them. But right now we've been fairly fortunate that we don't necessarily, it's not that tight on money from our finances, such that we can afford to purchase the Lego to keep Scott and I both entertained and happy. So if money ever did come a concern, obviously we could get rid of some of this stuff. But I think because when I grew up, I used to be really into video games. I still am. I haven't played them in quite a while at this point. But growing up, I had the original NES and the Super NES, and I had a pretty good collection of games for them, honestly. A lot of RPGs, Japanese RPGs. That's kind of what my interests lied in, as well as my mom's. And when the N64 came out, we pretty much got rid of all the Nintendo and SNES stuff. And ever since then, I really kind of regretted that. So although it purchased some more games that felt really nice at the time, now I look back and I just kind of wish that I had some of those games in my collection. And I have a feeling that I would feel the same with the Legos. Maybe the bulk Legos, not as much. But at least the sets. I don't foresee us probably selling those unless we just both get completely out of Lego at some point. So let's see here. OW says, Scott Toys and BFAB, when I make a mock, I need sig figs. Would you guys like yours on? So OW, so Scott and I don't actually have a sig fig yet. I've kind of looked around a little bit. I think it's going to be something that happens soon-ish. It's one of those priority things. We don't have a lot of figures to pull from looking at the physical copies. And I browsed around Bricklink a little bit, but it's kind of hard to, I don't know. I'm not quite sure how people go about selecting their sig figs. And so maybe I'm a little pickier than a lot of people. I don't know. It's been challenging trying to find something that I think represents, or a figure that represents Scott, as well as one for myself. But I do look occasionally, and hopefully at some point I will find one for him. But certainly once we get some, I'd be more than happy to send some of them out to some random people to be used in mocks and such. Thanks on the congrats for the second child. It's very exciting. It is a girl, and she is due in, my wife's going to destroy me. I think it's September. It might be the end of August, though. So obviously she's more in tune with that part of it than I am, but it'll be here before I know it, I'm sure. What else do we got here? BFAB. If I had my own sig figs, I would totally be down. Yeah, so BFAB, you don't have a sig fig that you've created yet either for yourself? Well, no, you've got a sig fig. I'm assuming that's a sig fig in your profile pic. Isn't that your sig? Palma said, have you ever thought about having a monorail in your city and building a custom train or having a park with the monorail in there? So I'm not big into the trains personally. Maybe at some point, if Scott has a huge interest, we'll add something like a train. The monorail I could see adding before a train. But really, I think the park, I think that's fantastic and definitely something that we want in there. Maybe at some point branching out into like a theme park, but that's probably lower on the list. To start with, I kind of want more of a downtown area, hopefully with a little bit of distance in between that and more of a kind of a suburban area with some nice homes, maybe something looking like a subdivision. Maybe similar to what I grew up in would be kind of ideal. That would be kind of neat to recreate my subdivision that I grew up with a little bit, or grew up in, kind of go and get a feel for. Obviously, it couldn't be to scale relative to the number of homes. That would probably eat up a huge chunk of this basement, but at least getting some good representation in terms of a few of the streets, maybe downscaling it a little bit, but that might be kind of a neat idea. Let's see here. OW, would you ever be able to tell me the parts for your sig fig? Yeah, so I think the BFAB sig fig is the one in his picture. I don't know the part numbers for it myself, but maybe that's something that he could share. Try and get through some more of these parts here. So I don't know what bins you can see here really, but for instance, this blue bin here, that's just a large bin of nothing but tires and wheels. So pretty happy with that collection. Some of these pieces really require some additional inspection. Some of my question whether or not they're Lego or fake Lego. Yeah, OW. So we do have a few of the Lego Friends set. Honestly, I kind of like a lot of them. There's some that I'm not as interested in, but I think they've got like a Heart Lake Hospital, I think is what it's called. That one looks really cool. We don't have it, but we did get a tree house from Salvation Army for a couple bucks that Scott and I put together, at least the pieces that were there. That was kind of a fun build. Working with a set that was incomplete, but still trying to make a point to build it anyways. And so when there's a missing part, just building around it, it kind of added a fun challenge to the build, honestly. think Layla would ever make official space again. Well, I'm assuming Lego, if they would ever make official space. I don't know. You know, honestly, I'm probably not as in tune with the Lego production schedules in terms of news articles and things like that. There's a few different individuals that I follow who post some reviews, and I don't want to call them spoilers, but kind of like leaked footage. And I do enjoy seeing some of that stuff, but I don't do a kind of an intensive investigation or anything to try and find it. I don't really follow any of the major news broadcasters. It's really just other content creators who occasionally post some content about sets that are releasing. Hey, Imperial Brick Productions, thanks for joining. Sorting is going very well. The end, at least of the large bin, is in sight. This here, which you can see we're down to maybe about a quarter to half of the container. This is all that I have left to sort out of the large 32-gallon garbage can. So I'm getting very excited to get to the end of this. It's a little crazy, but I would never think my thumbs would hurt so much. But a lot of these pieces ended up being attached to each other, and it's really hard when you get even with a brick separator, which is around here somewhere. I don't see it right now. But even with the brick separator, when you get a couple plates that are stacked on top of each other, sometimes working those off it can be a little challenging. And I just don't want to put pieces that are joined together into my sorted bins, because then I feel like I'm just kind of delaying more work for later. So Imperial Brick says, oh, nice, I'm still sorting, but haven't been able to get to the final box. So do you purchase a big haul of some Lego that you've been sorting as well? I do have some other Lego that does need to be sorted. I just kind of showed a large, I don't know what that is, an 18-gallon container of Lego that I purchased, as well as more fake Lego. As well as I got a couple more bins over there that I showed in a previous video, which were from, they're more sets though. A lot of stuff that's already put together, and the random pieces I believe are going to contain a lot of the components that might be missing from the set. So those ones I don't want to sort in this capacity. I want to try and make a point to identify, and I've got a list going. I've got a list going of sets that I could easily identify out of the other two bins, and I'm going to try and sort through the miscellaneous pieces and see if I can actually reconstruct those sets, and then probably tear them down so that Scott and I can build them from scratch. So, Imperial's uploading a flea market haul today. We have a flea market in our area that occasionally I go to, but not very often. The hard part about finding Lego there is the fact that there is actually a Lego store inside of, well, not an official Lego store, but a Lego vendor inside of the flea market, such that usually if something were to come in at one of the newer vendors, the internal guy knows about it and tends to purchase this stuff in advance. So you tend to pay a little bit more premium dollars for that stuff. So Imperial Brick Production, $20 for 10 pounds and a $5 Star Wars set. So $20 for 10 pounds, that is a really good price. That's actually a better deal than I got on the large container. So later, Palma. Thanks for stopping in and watching the stream. On eBay, I got a great deal yesterday. What, if you don't mind sharing, hey, Gabe Bricks, OW, what is it that you got for a good deal yesterday? Let's see, Gabe here asked, is this your collection of pieces or is this the Bricklink pieces? I do not have a Bricklink store, Gabe. I was mentioning it a little bit ago that it's kind of down on my priority list just because of the time involved with getting that set up and then supporting and maintaining that. So these are just really collection pieces. I don't know if you saw the video or not, but there was this large garbage can. It's a 32-gallon garbage can that was full of Lego. You can see it's now empty. So that's the major sorting process that I've been going through. And I'm down to the final bin, or shoebox container. So I've got a lot of other containers down here hidden. And I'm pretty happy with my first stage of sorting. There's going to be a couple more stages. I also need to make sure to clean them all. So there's still a lot of work to go with them. But it feels like I've made a lot of progress so far. So OW said, paid $114 for a retired set yesterday, an Imperial Assault Carrier from 2005. It was for under retail. So that's cool. I'm not as familiar with the Star Wars stuff. I used to be I don't want to say a big Star Wars fan because I don't know if I would ever classify myself as that, but I used to be a lot more into Star Wars than I am now. I think that'll probably pick up once Scott gets a little older, and I can share that with him. But for right now, it's not really something that he's as interested in watching. And I'm not sure relative to the content that's in them. I don't remember, but it might be a little more questionable for a 3-year-old or almost 4-year-old. So Scott will be 4 in July. So we're just a couple months away from his birthday party, which I know that he's really excited about. Later, Gabe, thanks for stopping in and saying hi. Really just kind of hoping to get through at least a little bit more of this. I don't know exactly how long I'll go this morning. But it would be nice to have all of this behind me, at least the large can. If I could get to the point where I could get this behind me today and actually start building the set tonight, that would be really nice. It's amazing. When you get down to the end of some of these containers, it's the little pieces that tend to take the most time. Like, it's just never ending. To start with, there was a ton of large pieces. You know, you're pulling out 2x4 bricks and a lot larger pieces than that, even, 1x12s, 1x16s. And now when you get down to all these little nitty gritty, like 1x2s, finding a lot of 1x2s in here, 1x1 plates, a little modified brick. I got some accessories here. I got some handcuffs, which is what this bag is for, is just random miscellaneous accessories or, super different pieces. Like here's a hood scoop for an engine, some chairs. I think some of the chairs I might have ended up getting mixed up between a couple bins, but we'll end up catching that in the second round of sorting. See if I can't get through just a little bit more of this. Appreciate you guys stopping in and saying hi and visiting with me while I do my sorting. I do see a notification here. It looks like Brickatech just went live. So it might not be a bad idea to kind of go over and watch some of that. Let me get through just a couple more pieces here, and then we'll probably wrap this up. I can see some fake Lego hiding in here that I really want to make sure, like this. You get this kind of an odd plastic color, which I guess you can't really see a little far away, but you can just tell by looking at the color of it that's not a actual authentic Lego piece. And then there's some other ones which can be a lot sneakier. There's a blue translucent that is not Lego. So I think I'm going to go over and I think check out Brickitect stream here, see what they got going on. I appreciate you coming and stopping in, visiting with me while I did sort. I'll maybe try and do just a quick little recap video. I'll try and throw it up as a bonus instead of a daily video, showing each of my bins, how I did. We will see you next video. Bye.